the all hands meeting today, and my company is Robin. So he is the moderator for today. So today we'll start the all hands meeting with the inspirational speaker session with Ibu Sekar Setiastuti. Welcome, Bu Sekar. And okay, without further ado, let's start the inspirational speaker sessions. Let me share the screen. Okay. Is my share screen visible on your side, guys?
Yes, but it is on the last slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, welcome, Ibu Sekar. So, my name is Hafiz. I believe this is our second time meeting. We actually met in Jogja base a few months ago, if you remember. So, I hope you're doing great today. So, let's start the inspirational speaker session. Okay, let's take a look at Ibu Sekar inspiring journey. So I took this from Ibu Sekar CV. So actually, good, uh, she has a good, what is it, journey, and so many journey before, and I just take a few of her journey here. So just start in 2009. She's joining in coordinating Ministry of Economist Affairs as the junior expert in economics. In 2011 until 2012, she's the lecturer and researcher in Department of Economics UGM. In 2015 until 2017, she is the North Carolina State University as the teaching assistant and graduate tutor. In 2020 until present, she is the assistant professor and undergraduate program director in Department of Economic UGM, and also in 2023 until present, she is the co-founder of Cortese Notoboyo Circular Ecosystem. So this is the quick overview of her journey. Any thing you want to add, Ibu Sekar?
Well, I think you got it all covered. I think, yeah, as I said before, I think we've met before, and I talk a lot about like how did I get here, and I feel like it was not all straightforward. I worked for the government, I didn't like it, and then I trying to be investment banker, and I didn't like it as well, and I just realized that my passion is really teaching and doing research, so I came back to UGM. And but yeah, so that's I feel like I had a different trajectories probably from all of you guys, but yeah, that's life anyways. But thank you for creating a really nice summary.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Sekar. So let's jump to the first question today. So this is the first question. So your career has spread government work, academic research, and policy consultancy. And what has been the most pivotal moment or decision in your journey that shaped your perspective as an economist?
Yeah, okay, so thank you for the question. It's not easy to answer this question, by the way, because when I became an economist, I realized that from for different perspectives, good economists isn't just about like creating like or about like technical precision, or but really is about uh being relevant under all of the pressure and all of the uncertainty. You know, it's for a lot of us, we delve a lot with theory, for example, but policy making is not theoretical in nature. And sometimes you have to kind of like sit with government, sitting with like government agencies and staffs and policy meeting, and really sometimes it's how you communicate, and that's hard because we learned a lot, and you guys went to universities, and the thing that you thought at that moment was a lot of like empirical things, theoretical things. And when you're in the kind of like situation where you have to make a real life policy, and that's not easy because a lot of things are political. Let's just put it out there. Sometimes policies were not really made or created based on well-founded evidence, for example, or it's not evidence-based policy, for example. So it's always very hard for us to kind of like influence policymakers in Indonesia, especially for a lot of different like political decisions that has to be made. So but there was this time when I work with the Central Bank of Indonesia, Bank Indonesia, and they really value academic expertise, and I help them with a lot of different like modeling, and that really makes me feel like, oh, okay, it's not too bad at all, because at least someone in the government, although central bank is separated from the government, but there's always a way to kind of like influence a policy. I mean, the degree of difficulties would really depend on who you are. I mean, your reputation and everything like that, and also who you are talking to, right? So it's yeah, but I feel like a lot of pivotal moments in my life really um when you're being heard and what you're doing, your work actually shape the policy. That's kind of like a good thing. Kind of like a feel good moment. I think all economists would feel the same as well. But anyway.
Okay, thank you, Bu Sekar. So actually, so many things happen after the graduate from the college and when you work in the government, and so is it you like so many compromise with the like theoretical things with the political things happen during your work as well? Okay, I think that's a good answer from Bu Sekar, and thank you for your answer for the first question. Let's jump into the second question. So this second question is from your perspective on of how tourism development differs between Bali and Lombok, which you have talked with Mr. Jing in the previous month, and places like Labuan Bajo, and what macroeconomic or policy insights should Bukit Vista be paying attention to?
Yeah, so we talk about Bali, Lombok, was it? And also I talk a little bit about Labuan Bajo. I feel like those three regions have followed kind of like different path or like trajectories shaped by different kind of things. Say, for example, infrastructure, government focus, institutional maturity, culture, and so on and so forth. In If you look at like Bali, I mean, I think we all agree that Bali is a little saturated. It's very mature, but with a very high visitor volumes, and Bali is very vulnerable to shocks. For example, pandemic, travel sentiment, for example. Now you have social media, and you have sometimes, when you look at your Instagram, and you got, you saw like news that Bali, everywhere in Bali is flooded, for example. That creates like negative sentiments towards Bali. And I think if you Google over tourism, I think Bali would be one of the place that, you know people know a lot. Now, the challenge in Bali would be very different in Lombok and Labuan Bajo. Bali would be like, how do you manage the, you know, environment, for example? So ecological, social sustainability is a big thing. And also, how do you manage, we say in economics, the diminishing returns, right? Because now it's oversaturated, for example. Then you need to think of like how to develop Bali without, even create more saturation in a way. Lombok is very different because it's in a transitional phase, in a way that it has pockets of development. So you have the Gilis, the northern Gilis, the southern Gili, Mandalika, for example, Kuta. But I feel like it suffers a lot from underinvestment in infrastructure and connectivity. I think, several years ago, I think 2 years ago, when there was this news that there was a massive traffic jam uh, when the MotoGP race was finished or something like that. And I think one of the MotoGP racer had to kind of borrow the police motorcycle to get to the airport or something like that. That was so ridiculous. But anyways, that's, the focus should be on making sure that the infrastructure being built aligns with the demand. And Labuan Bajo is a very extreme example of planned infrastructure, or like centralized planning by the central government, right? Because that is national initiative, flagship initiatives, and it has gotten like massive public investment in the past 10 years. Like, I remember when I was in Labuan Bajo the first time in 2015, there was no five-star hotels. There was, I mean, it was very, very different. But now, again, with all of the public investment and all of the focus in Labuan Bajo, it is vulnerable though. Even with the government support, it is still vulnerable in a way that we have a boom and bust cycle in our economy. So we have crisis, and then we have when the economy is booming, that boom and bust, that the government revenue would follow that boom and bust cycle. So imagine now, if you're in a crisis, the government revenue is not much, and then of course they cannot, add more public investment into the area, which is Labuan Bajo, right? So it's more like the reliant on policy continuity, and that policy is very sensitive to boom and bust cycle of the economy. Is the biggest challenge in Labuan Bajo. And I feel like, Labuan Bajo and Labuan Bajo, Lombok, Mandalika are, I think we talked about that before. It's a top-down tourism development, right? It was led. They were led by a government investment, central government investment, and when you have a shift in political leadership, for example, or you have a massive budget cut that's been happening lately, that would kind of like create a disruption in a way that the growth would be slower when you have the political leadership shift. And I feel like Bali was very different, as we talked about before. Bali is more like bottom-up, market-led growth, and as we see, as we all see, it creates such a vibrant, dynamic ecosystem. But again, it creates very complex externalities such as traffic, flooding, housing, land use conflicts, or like water problems, and all the kind of things. So yeah, I think that those are like some of the things that make Bali, Lombok, and Labuan Bajo a bit different than the others. Yeah.
So, okay, thank you, Bu Sekar, for the answer. And it just quite, what is it, fascinating, right, from your perspective as an economist for those places. And I'm really noted for your answer about the Bali, that you saying that Bali is saturated and having quite good development, but also vulnerable as well at the same time, because they have uh, since they have a huge exposure, they also vulnerable as well when there is a or is it bad news, or when there is a pandemic like COVID-19 previously. Okay, I think we can proceed to the third question. So this is the third question and the last question. Based on your experience, what strategies would you recommend for a company like Bukit Vista to remain competitive and resilient in a rapidly changing economic and sustainability landscape?
Yeah. Um, I think you guys are, I mean, now we have a convergence of a lot of different kind of things in life, right? One of the things is the convergence of tourism, hospitality, and technology, and I feel like you guys are at the center of all of that, and I feel like the tourism industry in Indonesia, the tourism landscape would be still very competitive, and I feel like you need to be agile, have a good foresight, and should be very grounded in like kind of like a local engagement, community engagement is going to be very important. So I feel like there are some things, for example, um, we talk about like economic shock, right? We talk about pandemic, we talk about natural disaster, we talk about political shift, for example, that would affect regions unevenly. So, for example, when you talk about like political shift, that might lead to budget reduction, for example, that might affect Labuan Bajo more than Bali, for example, right? But global downturns, that might affect Bali more, while if you see Labuan Bajo, that would still benefit from domestic tourism due to a very specific and kind of like a activity being offered in Labuan Bajo. So I feel like diversifying the property portfolio across region would be very important. Um, I think this is the mantra for any kind of investment, right? Don't put your eggs in one basket. So when you realize that there's a cycle and there's like different economic shock that affect inbound tourism, then you can see like, oh, okay, if there's a boom cycle, you know, properties in one region would be booming more than the other, but it's the other way around. Sometimes when you have a bust cycle, there would still be regions that are very resilient versus the other. Okay, so recognizing shocks and how that affect the inbound tourism would be very important. And then when you look at Bali, for example, I think sustainability is the key moving forward. When you invest in community, integration that could be like a very good or like could be like a strategic asset. So go beyond kind of like just compliance. I feel like we need to develop like community-based partnership, probably support local hiring and training if that's possible. And also, this would actually reduce frictions, cultural frictions, and also build a kind of like a long-term partnership or trust. And also, I think we talk about this with Mr. Jing. Data. Data is the new gold right now, right? Because when you have data and you can use data, you can actually stay ahead of the competitor. You can stay ahead of the demand shift actually, but with looking at the data, you kind of understand that you can leverage your technology platform to collect and analyze the granular data on different kind of things, right? Mr. Jing talk about like guest behavior or trends, the booking trends, or property performance. Now you can see that this kind of property kind of like sells more than the other type of property, for example. The property with the, I don't know, green paint, just like yours, sells more than red paint. That's something that's very important. And when I said that there's also this shock that is coming not just from the macroeconomic or global shock, policy is also going to be very important. So understanding, in a lot of different countries, in the small open economies like Indonesia, policy drive tourism development, Labuan Bajo, Mandalika, right? If you want to expand your properties, you should understand how the policy would be not just in the short run, but also in the long run. Okay. So you need to track the kind of like the long run priorities of government and see whether they would still, develop more using the central government resources. Local government resources is a very different thing. And, when you talk about like, this kind of like a long run long run priorities that align with your properties, it basically you need to kind of like look at your expansion according to the policy backed growth zones, and all the different kind of things like improve roads, for example, whether the airport is going to be expanded or like the airport is going to be international airport with direct flight from Singapore or Australia or different part of the world. That's also going to be very important. So maintaining a good relationship with local government and national agencies or national central government is also going to be very important. So it's in a way that there's the challenges, the shocks, but with the data that you have with I think you need to monitor a lot of different kind of things at the same time. So yeah, that's I think that's some of the things that might be useful for you guys.
Okay, thank you, Bu Sekar, and we can give a clap for Bu Sekar's communication for us, and I can highlight some point from Bu Sekar. Okay.
I forgot one thing.
Mhm.
I think I also talked to you about this before, right? So I feel like, with a lot of sustainability industry that's happening in Bali at the moment, I feel like it would be beneficial for you to create a sustainability narrative into your brand. So, for example, you pilot for green certification for selected properties, or you create a sustainability metrics for your properties, for example. That I think would also be a good direction to go. Yeah, I mean, again, it's something that you guys might want to explore as well in the future. But yeah, sorry for cutting you off. Thank you.
It's okay. It's good addition, Bu Sekar. So we can also adding some sustainability narrative on our property as well. Just like the carbon trading. It's a topic that quite how many people talk about in economically as well. Yeah. So I think that's the last question from us. And thank you, Ibu Sekar, for joining our all hands meeting and answering all of our questions. And after this, we will continue the our all hands session. If Bu Sekar wants to stay and to see our all hands meeting for the rest of all our all hands meeting, it will be good. And if Ibu Sekar wants to leave, if you have any other agenda, it will be okay as well.
Yeah, I think I have to leave the meeting because again, as I said before, it's like 10:30 at night in New
Okay.
York. But thank you so much again for inviting me. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you. Thanks so much, guys.
Hey, Bu Sekar, let me make some
Hey,
closing
Mr.
remarks.
Jing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to thank you for joining us again. And I really want to say thank you to Bu Sekar for being a very early supporter of our vision to once again create much more grounded, I think, truth based on data and evidence that is, I think this will dampen some of the shocks that you see in the marketplace as well by keeping, I think, the narrative focused on reality. So there's a few things. Hafiz, I want you to look for a listing with the 100% Balinese labels on them. You should be able to find one in a few moments. And Ibu Sekar, let me share my screen and show you some data about our talk that we had a few moons ago. And you might be curious to see what the data actually shows. Yeah. Okay. So here's the behind the scenes look at the dashboard for our talk. So the video since we've launched has gotten 437 views and a watch time of 44 hours, right? And that might not seem like much at the moment, but that's probably 44 one-hour meetings that essentially have been automated. But if we project this out, the really interesting thing you should see is that it has this really nice upward slope, and that is compounding interest. So what typically happens over time is this. This is an example of a video that we did 1,416 days ago, and this is what progress eventually looks like when you've created a foundational piece of knowledge. It eventually reaches up to that, and it can have really, really great impact. And that's a 6-minute video, so I think our video should be doing even better. Okay, Hafiz, I do realize actually we have been doing this new approach to sustainability, and perhaps it's a good point to clarify it. I feel like Balinese culture is under, let's say, not attack, but it's definitely changing and evolving in a way such that I think reflecting on Bu Sekar's story about stories, that Lombok needs to get its story together. Bali has a story already, but I feel like it's fading. And it's fading because more Balinese families and businesses are entering into this capitalist phase, and they even come to our offices dressed in like more modern clothing as opposed to traditional clothing. So one of our initiatives is to return tourist expectations back to enjoying Bali for what it is, instead of expecting Balinese people to cater to whatever they expect, right? And that's been working successfully because now we see other brands across the island copy our 100% authentic Bali branding for some of the different properties that we're listing. And Hafiz has shared an example of that. Thank you, Hafiz. So I'm going to launch it up on the screen. And this is an example. So we started this branding about 6 months ago for properties that are Balinese. And the previous narrative was that Balinese homes are guest houses, they're cheap, they're not very exciting, and the ceremonies and conductances on site are nuisances rather than part of the experience. Now, instead of guests complaining there's chickens crowing, they understand that there's a cockfighting culture, or now instead of having ceremonies be, let's say, interrupting the tourist day, they understand that this is actually part of the experience. And what I really, really like about that is that the tendency before was for our local partners to apologize about everything they did. And I thought that was the wrong mindset. They should not apologize. They should celebrate. And the change I think that's happening right now is that we're able to sustain, I think, the endurance of Balinese culture. That Balinese people can be more proud and more grounded in that they are part of the story, in fact, instead of part of the sideshow on their own island. So hopefully that's also, I think, a trend that catches on and is able to maintain the strength and also the attractiveness of Balinese culture. Okay, all right, Hafiz. In addition to also giving back to the community through education, as we're doing right now, in terms of, I think, educating the future youth to use data and also good AI practices to make sure that there's jobs and everything. Okay, all right, Bu Sekar, thank you for coming in. And thank you for taking your evening in New York. I know there's plenty of fun things you probably have forgone to hang out with us here. But yeah, enjoy New York City. It's a fun place. It's a very exciting place. And stay safe. Yeah.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much, you guys, for inviting me again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
yeah, you're a friend of Bukit Vista. Okay. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, team. It's truly great to have Bu Sekar back with us again. She recorded once again a foundational podcast, and this is good. This is good. We talk about sustainability. Oh, let me talk about one thing. Let me talk about one thing that's been on my mind for a while, and I think I had a discussion with Farquhar last night over pizza and Turkish food over this particular idea. I think the real challenge, and this is as a foreigner speaking in Indonesia about Indonesians, which is always an uncomfortable topic because what do you know about Indonesia? You don't even speak Bahasa Indonesia very well. But sometimes I think the issue about culture is it's hard to see the culture when you're actually born and raised in it, just like the way fish can't see water, right? But my observation of Indonesian culture, and this is kind of flattering, is I think it's actually one of the greatest cultures that I've encountered in the world. It's a pretty amazing culture. It's a pretty amazing culture because that you see so much diversity in all kinds of things, in the way that fabrics are created, in the way that art is derived. We drive through Ubud and we see sculptures, and they look like just plain ordinary laborers. They're dressed in like t-shirts and shorts, but they're carving amazing statues. We see people create some of the most amazing events. We see people who are really, really, imbibing a really strong culture. And then when I go to California, I see people who are cultureless. They are only in a culture of consumption. And they are overtaken by, I think, the plague of capitalism, the bad things in capitalism. But the tragedy, I think, is this. I think there's so much good things in Indonesian culture that local people don't really care about. Or even see, or even realize is special. So I think part of what Ibu Sekar shared with me is this idea of storytelling. This idea of storytelling oftentimes does not mean that you need to try to be more like a Westerner, right? Try to look at Korean dramas and how can I be more Korean, or how can I be more in California? I think what's really inspirational is to look inside your own culture and see what is special about eating with your hands. Or what is special about the way that your holidays are spent that other people don't understand? And what is special about, let's say, the small things? It could be details as small as, let's say, the clothing you're wearing, or the food you're eating, or a way to greet people when you come into your home or village. And I think that's all part of this greater, really, really important narrative. There's so many good stories in Indonesia, and I feel like these stories are often not really well told or forgotten, or just simply just discounted as common experience. So part of my mission right now is to really think deeply about how we can, I think, build a stronger narrative around what are the interesting stories. So would you guys like to see some of the work I've been doing this week? Yeah? Okay, cool. So this is an inspiration to myself because I realized that we had some hidden potential on our YouTube channel. So I don't know what it looked like before, but this is what it looks like now. So as CEO, I decided that, all right, I think we have too much brand confusion. When people go and they see our, let's say, largest brand actuators or YouTube channels, they just get a confusing mix. So what I've done is I've isolated the content on each channel to hopefully give a foundational building block for later work, which I hope people will succeed on, okay? So there's two concepts I think that, I think this concept is actually pretty interesting. I talked about it with Erica for lunch, right? And that video has gotten, I think, 1,000 views on the career channel. So the idea is, this idea of Jalan Jalan is actually pretty exciting. And not a lot of foreigners understand Jalan Jalan, but yet the foreigners seem to have the most attractive vlogs. So I thought, well, why don't I make and recreate this experience of Jalan Jalan? So in this, we basically go on random voyages and enjoy the process of Jalan Jalan instead of actually focusing on a destination. If you think about most of the content you've been consuming on, let's say, social media, it's been really inspired by, let's say, a foreigner doing something and then an Indonesian copying that, and then on and on and on, right? So you're getting like essentially these replications. But very few times have I seen somebody really just go, I'm Indonesian, I'm gonna go Jalan Jalan, I'm just gonna kind of film what that process actually looks like. So I've started this as a project, and I want to hand it over eventually to somebody here who can take on this inspiration, look inside your own culture and decide what it is that is truly special. And we've been filming this because we think that a lot of guests actually want to know the list. So these are short form videos called the Bucket List. And what we talk about are nasi campur, padang, and other things that tourists generally will avoid because they just have no expectations of what those experiences are. Now, I'm kind of happy that I don't have to crowd into my local padang place with a bunch of tourists, but it's also unfortunate that nobody thinks that this is worth sharing too as well. Okay, that's in one dimension. In the other dimension, we've revamped also the career page as well. So if you look on YouTube for, let's say, Bukit Vista Careers, we've been recording in this office and turning this office into a studio. So right now, what we've been doing is celebrating the internship work of, once again, all the interns that have come through here. But we've also been recording constantly for mentorship sessions that I've been having with all the different people who have requested mentorship. So we show how to essentially understand SOPs, SOAs, domain knowledge, record this one with LipV, and journal questions about leadership and such. So all of this stuff is our own culture. And I think our own culture inside the company is also something very special. It's very unique, and it should be shared with more people in the world. And I think everybody working here should be proud of this this particular really funny way that we go about. Hey, there you go, Rama. Rama just got started on the YouTube channel too as well. And hopefully many more amazing videos to follow. Look, here's a funny one. I recorded this one, Dea, and we just talked about Hagarumo chalk, which is this really type of unique chalk that we have. A unique benefit of working here at Bukit Vista, and already up to a few thousand views, which is pretty interesting. Here's our inspirational speakers that we've used AI to condense and make into more compact and fulfilling. And we've also put that into a podcast series such that people who want to listen to this stuff while they're, I don't know, driving to work in Jakarta traffic can also have the option of doing that. And that's just a little bit of inspiration about storytelling. So everyone here has stories. Everyone here lives in Indonesia. You guys are far better experts on probably a few things. You're probably already, if you've worked at Bukit Vista for a few years, you're probably an expert on startup culture and entrepreneurship. You just don't know it yet. You're probably an expert on your own hometown culture, but you probably don't know that either. You're probably an expert on many things, especially, let's say, the micro element of what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I would say this in conjunction and wrap it back up. I hope everyone can start acting and behaving more like knowledge managers over time in their careers here. I'll tell you why, because the road for knowledge manager is really open and up ahead, accumulating, condensing, and becoming domain experts on knowledge. The road for execution, sub-supervision, these are quickly becoming replaced with AI agents, okay? So in your career movement upwards, I would say start thinking about how you can become confident about sharing your knowledge in a way such that you now get reinforcement and also positive feedback about the knowledge that you know. And I think that's kind of a critical thing. Now I know Viddy's squirming because certain execution things in engineering are valuable, but I think we probably have a different definition of what execution means, Viddy, in terms of the way it applies to, let's say, the LPT. But anyway, everyone has knowledge that I think that is worth sharing. Everybody has knowledge that is unique and should be, once again, specialized. And if that isn't being like communicated and you're not getting confidence in your knowledge, it's also an unfortunate result. All right, so ending on a happy note, please think more about opportunities to tell your story in a way such that you can also learn more as you're teaching other people. I think that's the, Viddy would agree, that's the Feynman method. And that is also part of the standard culture pillars here at Bukit Vista. All right, that's it for me. Let me hand it back over to the next speaker.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jing. So for this session, I will hand it over to Robin as the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Hafiz. Can you please share the screen? Okay. Now moving on to hospitality and revenue target, Hafiz will walk us through. Hafiz, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Robin. So I will present about the semester performance. So this is the photo of Villa Sierra. Villa Sierra, this photo just taken a few days ago by Ganes. And this villa already have a booking, which will be checked in few days ahead, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. This is the reminder of our revenue target for semester 7. The revenue target is 4.2 million US dollar. Hospitality target 85% 5-star ratings, and the brand target of partner stability is 255,000 USD. Okay, this is the hospitality target and achievement. For the first metric, this is the accuracy. We got a decrease by 0.3 this week. And next, check-in, we got a decrease by 0.1%. Cleanliness, we got a decrease by 0.4. And communication decrease again by 0.3 point. And the location, this is the only metric that got a bump up this week. The location got a bump up by 0.5%. And value it got a decrease by 0.4%. And for the overall rating, we still lack of 1.1% to achieve the target, which is 85% for 5-star ratings. And this is the sample reviews we get this week that track down our hospitality metrics. So there is a review coming from King Parrot, Kubu BK, and Pingin Ombak, and Uluwatu Village House, Villa Meli, and some other properties, which I can conclude in this slide. So there is an accuracy issue in Pratama Villa, which is confusing villa name and edited photo not matching the reality and missing advertised service like daily cleaning and pingin ombak. So you guys can read all of the key issues this week on the slide. So I will skip this. And for the revenue target achievement, I will pass it to Furkon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mas Hafiz. Good morning, everyone. So for this week revenue progress, we are currently at 1,600,000 USD, around that point. We still have 2.5 million revenue to catch to achieve the revenue target, and we have 120 days in exact to achieve those. Still far ahead, summer is coming, so let's hope for the best and aim to achieve this revenue target. Next slide, please. Okay, on the partner stability target achievement, so there is no further decision. There is no further change for the Sundream Villa until we waited for the June 1st. Hence, we counted for the hence the offboarding we counted as churn. So Sundream Villa has what is it called? Proposed the offboarding decision by May 15. We checked that we actually over delivered our target to the partner, but still partner would like to offboard. Hence, we detected this and classified this as the brand issue and counted as the churn at the end of the day. So this is it for the report. Thank you very much, Mas Hafiz. Back to Kak Robin.
Okay, thank you, Furkon and Hafiz. So let's move to weekly mission inspiration. Bukit Vista mission is to inspire delight through hospitality innovation that positively transform our partner. To Nadia.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So this is the BBR podcast video collaboration that we have with experts. So last week we have 2 video collaborations actually. The first one is from Jing with Click, is the architect from Archimedes, and the second one is Wayana interview video with Terhe. He was actually one of previous BBR podcasts also before. So yeah, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe the video. Thank you.
Oh, Nadia, you should add. Click, in addition to being, I think, the second most prestigious architect in Bali, was also the founder of the Bali Tolak Reklamasi movement. I thought that was pretty badass. Yeah, he started this social project against the reclamation of Benoa Harbor. So quite a legendary person if you know his background. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. Let's move on to inspiring the hospitality industry through technological innovation. To Reza.
Okay, thank you, Kak Robin. Can I share screen, Kak? Okay, please wait for a moment. Okay, so this was the new update for Ether, especially for security enhancement and visualization improvement in Ether. So therefore, before the problem is Ether currently lack adequate security, and its URL was leaked before, which allows to the unauthorized external access. So the solution that has been implemented is the Ether has been embedded into the bigger. This integration improve the security and ensure only authorized user can access the platform of Ether. So right now user can access the Ether subpage under the data visualization page here. So I'm also add a new feature to user can now adjust the size of the chart or polygon size of the visualization in Ether by in the page here. Okay, so user can change the polygon size. Right now it's default to extra bold like this. Is the weight. Okay. So right now the polygon size is increased to extra bold. So we can make it more bold, very, very bold like this.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's cool.
As the polygon size is now full, size is extra bold like this. But the user also can change the polygon size thin than the default. So this is the default one. To thin like this. It's also become more thin, more thinner. And the minimum one is the size is going to be deciphered like this.
Sick.
Okay.
That is so ill. Okay.
Okay, so I think about this improvement of this widget, you can explore by yourself. And that's all that I want to show. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, amazing update from Reza. Thank you, Reza. And now let's move on to GoVD.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I'll share a little bit about automated GS inspection schedule. Okay, is my screen visible? Visible, yeah? Okay, so there are two key points of the technology that I want to introduce. First is the GS inspection schedule, and second is the use of N8N for this utilization. So previously, the problem is the orchestration is manual. It takes time and could be subjective based on availability. So first system that I would like to introduce is this N8N schedule orchestration. It went through several steps and loops. You can see the steps name here. Basically, you can set the weights of the which component will contribute to the higher priority of the inspection schedule, whether it's the review itself, the escalation, or whether you want to prioritize less the one that have been inspected the latest, the most recent inspection, or maybe in the reviews itself, you can give weights whether you want to prioritize whether cleanliness or check-in or the review count itself is the one that wants to be prioritized. So it will check through the daily shift arrangement for the role of GES and find the available inspector. Well, I'll explain. Let's just test this workflow and see it run. It will go through each step. And after getting the list of available inspector, it will prioritize and also assign the property based on the availability, the one that is having the first day of check-in, the one that is available. The one that is in between maintenance can still be inspected. And after that, it will post the assignment of the GA schedule to Slack, basically, just like the previous Butler inspection. So if we see here, this is an example of the inspection result for today. It's run automatically at 7:50 in the morning. Agra Villa Bali, Infinity Balangan, and so on and so forth. So there are some limitations I've also written down, which will be improved in the future. For example, it has limited understanding of the area. So it's already done. So for example, here, yes, it's basically generating the same list because it's based on live data. I'll delete this list later, but it has limited understanding of area because we still determine the area cluster manually. It has no context of it has limited understanding of area and also location context. It is quite rigid, so we also determine how many number of property to be inspected per executor. For example, here for properties at max per executor, and it will assign the property based on the property cluster. So if For example, the first area has different clustered compared to the second property. It will skip ahead and go down the list based on the same cluster, something like that. So aside from this, the inspector will be able to report in HubSpot. So not using select form anymore. If you look at this form, if you submit the report, you can see it being updated in HubSpot as well as in Slack. For example, like let's see, the 3 days ago, I believe, yeah, something like this. Sophia will report, and then after it has been reported, then tomorrow it will not appear on the same list. It will be less likely appear on the list again because it's just been inspected, right? Logically. And also sometimes we want to have some manual intervention. What you can do is utilize this particular scenario, which is to watch for Slack mentions. So just like Sarah here, yesterday she escalated, please escalate the inspection of Infinity Balangan tomorrow, for example. And Sophia will add the urgency. Once the inspection has been done, the urgency will be reduced back to 0. Or multiple people can increase the urgency, and then it's just like a feature request in some sites. So it has a lot of improvement to be made. Some also like Kabaya's vision of having a solid decision or suggestion to make a decision, like whether this property should be offboarded or not based on the objective report. And also it still collaborates with Butler for the attachment update. So this is just an update so that hopefully it can inspire more automation in any time as well. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, cool update from Kobidi, and thank you. Now let's hear from Furkan about our company team target and achievement. Furkan, over to you.
Okay, so I would like to also give a heads up that our time is actually up, but I would like to extend like at maximum 15 minutes to proceed with the rest of the agenda. Okay, so this is the first all hands in June, so let's recap our performance in May. I believe you have been all aware about our revenue target and also how our hospitality target achievement as announced yesterday on Slack. That based on these results of our progress in revenue target and success percentage, we received 0.25 multiplier in our maximum bonus compensation in our employment journal. So let's proceed ahead to the brand target. This is one target that we actually achieved this month. So still quite good news. And for the starting May revenue target, sorry, it should be starting June revenue target. My bad, not changing it accordingly. Starting June revenue target, we actually overachieved on the starting revenue target. However, as I commented over there, we exceeded the what is it called, the occupancy over 35%. So hence no bonus boost given per the policy delivered by Bella. Okay, so what are our performance so far? In May, we managed to have 79% occupancy, 2% decrease compared to last month, 12% expired dates. This is 1% decrease from last month, 6% maintenance. This is 2% increase from last month, and 3% owner usage, which is also 1% increase from last month. And scroll down a bit, we will be shown by the insights by the revenue management team. So the revenue target achievement, we achieved around 517,000 USD in revenue against the target at 535,000, reaching around 96% of our monthly goal. And for the year-on-year growth, May delivered highest year-on-year revenue growth to date with 25% increase over May last year. This demonstrates the impact of our strategic initiative and also solid demand generation. Our occupancy trends, booking behavior has shown a clear improvement. Only 12% of May's dates remain expired compared to 18% in May 2024. This signals stronger pickup patterns and improved booking pace. And the revenue acquisition part, we also saw the highest revenue acquisition rate of the year, capturing 86% of our revenue potential, a new high in this year. Okay, so what are we having for the June 2025 target? So for the revenue target, we are settled at 543,000 USD. And for hospitality target, it is still to be discussed, however, or to be determined. However, in the next all hands, we will make sure that this target has been announced on the next all hands. For the brand target, we are set in 44,000 USD, and the starting revenue target for July, we are set at 350,000 USD. With the note, the occupancy do not exceed 36%. So that's the report for the company team target achievement. Thank you, Karobin. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Furkan. So now let's open the floor for core value recognition. To Rama.
Okay, Rama is unfortunately could not be here with us to deliver this because he is having his UDCum today. So I will read on his behalf. He would like to congratulate the UMs as also the senior leaders as he's seen so many improvement regarding the week shift compliance. It reduced the violation number greatly, and we only had 2 violations so far by last week. However, it is increasing later on. Means the rest of the weeks almost untouchable, but it is those who are consistent who get the reward. So leaders, thank you very much. Keep it up. This is the recognition from the last week all hands that has not been read. Okay, thank you, Karobin. Back to you.
Okay.
Next to Mr. Jing.
Next to Jing.
Okay. Yes, I'm going to recognize Gray. So Gray is helping out massively by detecting out where there are some supervision issues. So I'll tell you guys why this is important. So oftentimes, a lot of people in the company are working on project after project after project because there's actually a small problem with, let's say, some particular SOP that should be already running. This is often very frustrating to see that we're going to essentially change the entire company, add a lot of work to different people. So what Gray's been able to do is to really find out when we have, let's say, a part of the company involving a person that isn't working the way it should be. Now, some of you might think, well, that's bad because, we're exposing somebody or whatever it is. But what I've noticed is this, that if we find that somebody isn't working out the way we expect, there can be quick corrections either in expectations or the reality of what they actually do. What really happens that's really damaging is when we don't find out, that person doesn't speak about it and it goes on for months, which then ends up in, let's say, a much worse outcome. Think of this as going to visit the doctor regularly and discovering if you have an underlying issue versus going to the doctor not regularly and discovering you have a life-threatening disease. So that work is difficult. It's unpopular, but thank you, Gray, for rising to the challenge, stepping on toes, being transparent, and helping us keep structured on the path where we need to go.
Okay. Next to Nadia.
Oh yeah, so this is to Reza for rising to the challenge and also bias to action. So Reza was actually really on fire last month on May because he contributed a lot on data acquisition, editor, design for Bifico, Bigger, also website development. So great work, Reza, and let's keep the momentum, the fire going. Thank you.
Okay, next to Jing.
All right. I just put this up because it just occurred to me that this is worthy of recognition. So this is actually rising to the challenge. Rising to the challenge means that you don't need permission to do what you think is necessary to do. And you don't need to hold back and say, can I do this? Can I do that? Just do it. So what I've seen for Khan and Rama is their initiation to start the leaderboard takes courage because they are, well, technically underranked compared to some of the UMs that they are putting leaderboards up. But they decided to proceed with it. And I think it's good culture. It's good to see how each upper manager is doing in terms of how they supervise their team. So that's adding transparency. But it's an easy idea, but it takes courage to actually do it. So that's recognition for the courage. And also talking about how to set up UN compensation correctly, which is also a difficult topic, but also quite pivotal and central to the overall health of the company. So think of Rama and Furqan as policing your supervisors and making sure that they're also holding themselves accountable to what the company needs, which is, once again, rising to the challenge. Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone for core value recognition. We would go through everyone personal update, but due to time constraint, we won't be reading them out today. However, please make sure to submit your personal update by 5 p.m. today. Move to announcement.
Okay, thank you very much, Karobi. This is the most exciting part of this all hands, yeah.
There it is.
Okay. Why is it? Because we would like to announce our shift leaderboard final results. So for the first month trial that Rama has been coordinating, the final ranking for the shift leaderboard is placed for revenue management team plus BD and also for HR and PR. So congratulations for all the members involved in those departments. Okay, so for those of you who are within the first place, you will be rewarded by 50,000, not USD ya, IDR aja. Kalau nggak nanti jebol budget company. So you can use it for jajan-jajan. Jajan-jajan another term. For jalan-jalan, sir, we can make a pivot ya, jajan-jajan. I will be the host there. Okay, so on the second place there is operations team and also engineering. Thank you very much, guys. Even though you are not getting the first place, but your consistency is also very much appreciated for this month's trial. And on the third place, unfortunately, marketing we kind of do expect, yeah, and the first announcement for this first week of announcement of this leaderboard, you were on the top position still with us. RM and also BD and HRPR. However, due to the violations from sebutin namanya enggak? Violations from some of the members, unfortunately, that it is got decreased. So based on the announcement that has been set according to this policy, we will have all of our marketing team to do 15 push-up in this all hands. So get your seat down, all of the marketing team, and for the rest of us, let's count it together.
Memalukan.
Bejir.
It's only 15, not 150.
Masya Allah.
Oke, Mas
Go
Gani,
for them.
Kanadia,
Go for them.
Mas Hafiz. Oke, siapa lagi nih? Ganes, jangan lupa. Weda, ayo. Habis itu siapa lagi anak-anak marketing yang ada di sini? Jangan tiba-tiba langsung alasan device lag ya.
Ayo.
Nggak diterima. Ayo semuanya. Oke, sip. Semuanya udah ready belum? Semuanya udah ready belum? Oke, sip. Kalau misalkan udah semua ready, mari kita hitung bareng-bareng, guys. 1, 2, 3. 1,
2, 3,
4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Okay, congratulations. Okay. Amazing. Thank you very much, marketing team, for amusing us with your push-up. Okay, and also for your integrity to keep up with this punishment. We really respect you for that. Okay, so I think that concludes our all hands this week. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for coming, and see you around actually until next week. Bye bye.
Oh, stay around for a selfie. Wait, I'm going to put this on the vlog, right? So sign off, everybody. Just wave to the camera. Say, till the next all hands. Goodbye, everyone. Okay, thanks. All right, see you guys.
Dahar.